Pokemon. Pokemon Sword and Shield. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon Anxiety and Depression. Pokemon Rock and Slightly Shinier Rock. Pokemon I Want to Be a Kid Again. And Pokemon dealing with the hopelessness of knowing that you will never be able to buy a house in your future. Pokemon Blue. Hi, everybody. Dark in the Sky here. Again. Scarlet and Violet came out like a year ago, or maybe more. I have no fucking clue. And I was gonna make this video then, but I didn't because it was bad, it was cringe, it was unfunny. My girlfriend called me a furry. This alpha sign is ironic. Alright? Back then, I played Scarlet, and I said it was a good game. But then, I played a new game that was much older, and now I've changed my opinion. The game is poo-poo. Pokemon Nazi and Pokemon Bolshevik. Can't wait for that one. Pokemon Emerald. Remember that one? That was fun. Fuck me. Pokemon, like many people, has been part of my childhood for a very, very long time. And so, because of that, it has a stranglehold on my nostalgia, so I have to come back yearly to buy every single new release. I'm not gonna lie, the series has kind of done me dirty for the past couple of releases. I think they're all bad. That doesn't really, stop me from buying them. I'm not gonna give up on my childhood just because it isn't giving me any joy anymore. In fact, I think they could do literally give me the shittiest game possible, and I will still buy the new one because I love the idea of going out into a game and discovering new Pokemon and then having that little burst of dopamine when my Squirtle evolves into something cool, I don't care about anything else. I don't care about performance. I don't care about gameplay. I don't even care much about graphics. The only thing I care about is my little boys becoming cool boys, and that's what I want. But you know what the new fucking games did? No. They bastardized my childhood. When I was a kid, I saw my little Typhlosion from my Heart Gold game turn into a badass. But now, I play the games, trying to rekindle that feeling, and I get a man. I start evolving my Quaxley, and then it shakes its little tight bussy at me, tempting me with its beautiful feathers. Again, it's still ironic, okay? I'm not gonna lie. I don't like it. Makes me uncomfortable. Not what I want in my children's play entertainment game. It seems like in earlier generations, there was just every so often, there was a furry Pokemon. But now they're making them so prevalent that they're just all the time. They're just everywhere. Especially making a starter a furry, that's not all encompassing. People don't want their starters to be furries. I wanted to cuddle my Typhlosion. Incineroar wants to cuddle me. I don't know about you, but I don't like it. That's about as nuanced as my conversation goes. Furry bad. Hey, it's me on a different day. Shows you how fucking long it takes me to make a video. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm not a Gen 1er by any means. If anything, I'm a Gen 4er. Not to say that Dex is perfect. It's just as far as starters go, they're pretty solid. The Gen 1 starters established the series, and for that I can respect them. But looking back at them, despite them being solid designs, they don't have much going for them. Most of them are just animal plus element, and that's it. Which leaves them ending up being a little bit bland and uninteresting in my opinion. The most creative one out of the three is Bulbasaur by being a weird dino frog thing, and even then, it doesn't really do anything with the concept except get bigger. And I guess if you want to be generous, the flower does bloom. On the contrary, the newer generations always shake things up with new concepts and themes. A Delos Delos Morte Sugar Skull Crocos that has a Firebird as a microphone that is part of the Pokemon but also kinda isn't part of the Pokemon? Possibly too much, but I think it's a cool idea. I just only wish it didn't look like four-legged robotic Krusty the Clown. And the other two have good concepts. It's really hard for me to compliment the other two. I think Gen 4 has the perfect balance between concept and execution. And I say that even though Typhlosion is my favorite Pokemon. Nostalgia is powerful. Look at Empoleon. It's not just a water penguin. It's based on Napoleon. It has a trident for a face, and the clothes-like design is implemented into its chest so it doesn't look like it's just wearing fucking pants. Same with Infernape. Not just a fire ape. It's based on the old Chinese story of the son of Goku. And Torterra is a big fucking turtle! And I guess bonsai trees and the general concept of turtles having things on their backs. Still cool. If you disagree and you think the new generations are really cool, that's okay. More power to you. I'm speaking subjectively here. And subjectively, I haven't been quite pleased with the direction that the franchise has gone. But hey, I'm an artist. Why don't I create my own hypothetical Pokemon curated to my own self-indulgent taste and then show them to you? That's what I did. That's what this video is about. Okay, like the deck suggests, let's start with the grass starter. Fair warning, all concepts for these Pokemon started on a napkin, so they're pretty rough, but bear with me, the final product is pretty good. Even though if I didn't quite master the Ken Sugimori style, I still think I emulated it pretty well. For the grass starter, the concept was as simple as make a starter Pokemon a bug type. Okay, so the first doodle I did was this one. Yes, I know. But soon I moved on to paper and drew these four before moving onto my tablet, where the design could be a bit more serious. After looking up the word moth and plant, I found moth plant, a native plant to South America which garners its name from the insect-trapping flowers it grows. Also famously called cruel vine, as the moths and butterflies they trap normally end up dead. This is Pokemon, however, so the plant and the moth are one and the same. And it even uses the plant pods as a makeshift coat. Mothpod, the podling Pokemon. Mothpod find their homes hanging in wild vine. They often help the vine grow by pollinating and spreading seeds, making the plant hard to control in suburban areas. I'm gonna try and keep all these dex entries like 2 to 3 sentences long. I'm not a big fan of extensively long dex entries, like, you know, leave something for the imagination. That's just my opinion. Moving on to the fire starter, we have the same situation, starting on a napkin. Classic. This was the first Pokemon I created, and the reason why I created this whole thing in the first place. I remember I just wanted to prove to myself that I could make a Pokemon that I could be happy with, unlike the ones that were given to me, and I think I succeeded. Even though I think I succeeded, I do have to give Gamefreak a little bit of credit. This was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. Designing Pokemon is no easy task. I had the idea of a fire frog Pokemon, but I didn't have any idea of how to execute it, until I came up with the idea that it still had its tail from its tadpole stage. Tadburnt, the tadpole Pokemon. Tadburnt are born in the lava of volcanoes. They stay there swimming until they're mature enough to grow legs. They use their tails to balance on land, but usually end up falling over anyways. Tadburnt's name was originally Tadburn to sound more like a Pokemon, but Tadburnt's funnier, so that's what we're keeping with. If they can have Lechonk, I can have Tadburnt. The water starter was the last I designed. I had a few ideas on paper, but I didn't really use them. I always wanted more jellyfish Pokemon. The ones we got are not nearly as cool as they should be. You can see I went through a few concepts before being happy with this one, but I knew I wanted a creature with some sort of jellyfish as a hat. I also was inspired by Ponyo, and this scene in particular. None of the designs really worked until I decided to make it a cephalopod after hearing about this viral tweet of a baby octopus riding a jellyfish, which is adorable by the way. After I came up with that, everything kind of fell into place. Even though this was the hardest one to design, I think it might be one of my favorites of the three. Geltot, the vortex Pokemon. Geltot create a bubble around their head that they use to propel themselves forward underwater. On land, Geltot will fill the bubble up with seawater. If all the water dries up, the Geotot will dehydrate and die. I really wanted to add that like morbid line just to make it perfectly Pokemon, you know, Charmander's tail and all. Before I show you the evolutions, which one would you choose on your adventure? Personally, I'm partial to Geotot, but let's hear your choices. And let's hear if they change once you see the evolutions. I actually did the middle stages last. I debated on not doing them at all because I wasn't feeling quite inspired, but I actually had fun designing them. I'm glad I completed this properly. I didn't really struggle making Mothpod's Evo. The hardest part, I would say, was just the colors. At level 16, Mothpod evolves into Nymphera. Nymphera, the Fey Pokemon. Nymphera stay deep within the forest, away from civilization, sleeping within circles of mushrooms. Some people believe this is Nymphera guarding portals to another world. Tadburn's evolution line was a bit more of a struggle, and you'll soon see that this isn't even the worst of it. First, you can see I was just trying to bring in a rock and volcano motif, but it just wasn't working at all. I eventually settled on the idea that his tongue would be a whip, and then I found my footing for the concept. After training your Tadburn to level 16, it evolves into Frolava. Frolava, the Lava Whip Pokemon. Frolava uses its molten tongue to attack its foes. Its interior organs are as hot as the center of a volcano. For Geotot's evolution, I actually went back and used some earlier concept sketches that were originally for Geotot. Pretty simple concept, nothing too different, just making the jellyfish way bigger. At level 16, Geotot evolves into Jellisk. Jellisk, the reserved Pokemon. Jellisk can reach up to 50 miles per hour while swimming underwater by rotating the bubble on its head like a propeller. Jellisk often hide behind their bubble, believing that it's the only part of itself that is pretty. So sad. So cute. Moving on. Nymphera's evolution is one I quite like, but does take an unexpected turn. I wanted to go more mammalian and beast-like. I bet you didn't think I would be referencing Entei for this Pokemon. Eventually, once I got a basic shape I was happy with, things kinda fell into place. The hardest part was the colors again. At level 36, your Nymphera evolves into Phaedoptera. Phaedoptera act as guardians over the forest they inhabit, often fighting back against human deforestation. It is impossible to track down a Phaedoptera in the forest, as they seemingly can appear and disappear anywhere. For Frolava's evolution, you will see the torment and agony I had to go through trying to come up with this idea. Basically, I started with a rather simple concept of a volcano frog, and I did so many different sketches I wasn't happy with that I think we'll just have to speed through them. The main thing that was holding me up was the volcano frog was all I had, and I didn't have a tertiary concept like the new Pokemon. I also was making it look too much like a frog, and there was nothing about the design that made it stand out in any way. But I did eventually find a body shape I was happy with, and also a concept. I was thinking about hydrothermic vents and how often they appear, at least in illustrations, as tubes. So basically the concept was pipe organs, and even Catholicism to a lesser extent. Bear with me. With this idea, I got a relatively finished design, and even after that I redesigned it again, just to make the pipe organ motif a little bit more obvious. At level 36, Frolava evolves into Toadmageddon. Toadmageddon, the volcano Pokemon. Toadmageddon stay high atop volcanoes, where they bask in the hot fumes like a sauna. The vents on its back blast out hot fire and ash with a foreboding tune anytime it feels threatened. I like this Pokemon, but if I were to redesign any which one of them, it would probably be this one. No, it's not because of the giant pipe organ on its back. That's the only thing that makes it original. It's actually the obsidian. I just don't think it was implemented well enough at all. Also, yes, Minecraft did gaslight me into believing that obsidian is purple, even though it's really not. Jellicent Evolution is the last and final Pokemon, and my personal favorite. While starting this design, I had the idea of women wearing, Weimao. Basically, that translates to hat and veil, like the traditional Chinese noblewomen from the Sui dynasty. Basically, think Painted Lady vibes. I know right now it looks like a monster from a Guillermo del Toro film, but don't worry, I don't keep it. This is about as anthropomorphic as I get in designs, but even still, I think that it's not human looking, even though it's based on a literal woman. Even still, I think it's very easy to see it as either gender. I don't mind if my Pokemon are feminine, I just don't want my Pokemon to be tits and ass. But I think we're okay, because I don't think anybody's gonna sexualize a squid. At level 36, Jellicent evolves into Lumiriza. Lumiriza, the bioluminescent Pokemon. Lumiriza live in the deepest part of the ocean. They use bioluminescence to communicate to each other in beautiful colors. Wild Lumiriza are not known to leave the deep ocean often, but sailors tell tales of every month dozens of Lumiriza gather to the surface to dance in the reflection of the full moon. Well, that's my Pokemon. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed. Please say you did.